welcome back to Camping with a Rod. My name's George, in case you'd forgotten. Back at Kathleen's again for another 48 hour on what may be the hottest bloody 2 days, weekend, whatever you want to call it, that has ever existed in all of British history. The fish can definitely feel it. We rocked up about 8 AM this morning. It's currently 25 past 12. We've got both rods in the water, everything's set up, bought some house pellets, got the ASM on the go yet again, see if we can do the business. I have, however, changed peg today. The only 2 times I've been here before I fished peg 6, which is like literally the opposite end of the lake. This part is almost a cul-de-sac, if that's that's probably the best way I could describe it, like a bay on its own. It has a cut through, and this is kind of the only place that I feel like, and don't get me wrong, I'm no expert, the fish have got places to hide is in this one, and this is peg 1. I've got about halfway down my left margin, which I will show you in a bit, I've got a ASM 16mm wafter, brown wafter on a spinner rig, size 6 hook, which is just one of the pre-bought ones from Carp. I don't even waste my time making them, like I said in the previous videos. Then the second one is literally dead across opposite bank, because there is no pegs on the opposite bank, so you kind of it's left to itself, so it's a bit easier. It's a bit easier for me. It means that there's no other fishermen that I'm going to be upsetting. The peg next to me is vacant, which is peg 2. I don't think anyone's booked on there this weekend. If there is, they weren't last night, and nobody's turned up today so far. And peg 3 have just left. So I basically have this full bay of water to myself. Nice and quiet. Like I say, I am solo today for this session, which I suppose is probably a good thing, because it means I might shut up a bit more, which might draw the fish in, but you never know. The second rod I forgot to mention, that's just on an IQD rig, same as I always use, size 6 hook, pre-made by Carp. That is just in the ASM 16mm boilie. Hopefully, there's a couple of things I want to get done on this video today. I want to show you my bivvy, I want to show you my boat, I want to show you the rigs that I use, the rods, the alarms, everything that I use when I'm out on a fishing trip. Now, a bit of background about me: I've only been fishing since last September. It is currently, so it was September 2021, it's currently all, what is it, 16th of July 2022, so I haven't been fishing too long. I used to fly fish when I was younger. I used to go with my granddad, and that was kind of the first time I ever really enjoyed fishing, kind of the only time I really enjoyed fishing. Later on in life I started doing, my dad really tried to get me into fishing because he's a big fisherman himself. Not so much now, but he used to be. And he tried his hardest to get me into going sea fishing with him, which I know I was never really a fan of. I did, however, eventually start mackerel fishing with him off the pier local to where we live. I did that for maybe 2 seasons. It was maybe only 2-3 times a year I'd go with him, just mainly because I don't live in the same town as my parents anymore. But how I ended up here today, funny story, this wasn't meant to be this trip wasn't meant to happen. I was on a family holiday. I'd booked a week off. I'm not meant to go back till Tuesday. It's currently Saturday. I fluffed up. I didn't bring enough medication. I'm type 1 diabetic, so I use insulin injections. I thought I would have brought enough. Turns out that when you're on holiday, all you do is eat Burger King and Papa John's, which means that you need a lot more. Oh, and ice cream means you need a lot more insulin. So I kind of ran out Thursday night. Now, I was going to go home, come back, leave them for the day, but we all decided we'd come home early because there wasn't really much left for us to do. We kind of did everything we wanted to do on the holiday. I mean, there was a car boot sale to go to, tomorrow, but I think we were fast running out of money, the amount of takeaways we were eating and ice creams we were buying and toys we were buying for the kids. So we all just decided to come home, and I thought, I've got 2 days to play with. What do I want to do? And lo and behold, I am on the bank yet again. So this is what's happening. 48 hours, Kathleen's, Doncaster. Fingers crossed we get at something. I'll be hard pressed to get another PB out of here. I mean, there definitely is fish capable of a PB. I mean, 21-12 not in my first video. I brought a tripod this time, so hopefully I'm a bit better in frame. If there's big fish here, I think this is where they'll be. So fingers crossed. Right, quick update. We are 25 to 3 now, so we're kind of past the first bite time, or at least the bite time I had last time I was here. But I mean, to be fair, it's just so hot, it's unreal. I mean, I seen a big, I mean, to be honest, I thought it was an otter when I first seen it. Obviously the place is otter fenced. Big orange carp, so I'm guessing it was a koi. Just cruising around on the top, on the surface, in between both my spots. But I don't know, hopefully we're getting a whiff on that. Reset my left rod. That's the one with the spinner rig. I've been using the ASM 16mm wafter, but I've took a choice to swap because last time I was here I caught on. Got a yellow ASM dumbbell wafter. That was what I caught me 21-12 on here on peg 6 2 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago, something like that. I had 2 bites on that, 2 decent bites, but the first one popped off. Unfortunately, if you will go and watch the last video, you'll see why I was too busy staring at the end of the rod instead of where my line was going. Because all the fish I'd caught previously on that section were all trying to get in the reeds, so I was just trying to drag them away from the reeds, not paying attention. The bigger fish weren't trying to get in the reeds, so who knows what would have been on that one. But yeah, I've switched to left rod. It's still under an overhanging tree, which is probably one of the only overhanging trees here, so now it's in the shade, so hopefully it cools down, we get a few fish in that area, and hopefully they like the looks of what's on the end. But I put it on a spinner rig, I've tested it in the bucket of water, and it's sitting pretty. It's definitely sitting pretty. Corn's banned on this venue, but that looks exactly like corn, so if it works, it works, you know what I mean? I'd rather chuck something that at least looks like a band bait, and then at least you know there's a reason why people ban things, and it's because it works so well. I mean, I've been on other venues with corn and it's just, you can't keep your rod in the water. So at least we've got something in there that looks like it. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, now that the weather's starting the sun's trying to get behind the trees a little bit, we might start seeing a few bites. I've seen a couple of big fish show. One, funny enough, just off the end of my off the end of my rod, because I was stood there hiding under a tree trying to get out the way. But we'll see what happens. I had the boat out. I've had the boat all the way around actually with the fish finder, which I can actually show you. It's called, if you look for them on eBay, it doesn't come with a 3D printed, you have to get that separately. The part that you get is the yellow bit. It's called a Lucky Fish Finder. There you go. So it comes with, and it basically just tells you the temperature of the water, the depth, any weed, if there's any fish there, I don't really use it to look for the fish. I more use it to look for the holes where the fish will hold up, especially in weather like this. As soon as it hits the night time, fingers crossed that's where they'll be. I've pre-baited a couple of spots that I've never actually touched yet. One literally directly in the left corner from me, and I've had a couple of little splushes and splashes from there, so fingers crossed for that one, because I might put a rod down there tonight and see what happens with that, since it's completely rested, there's been no line. I think next time I cast I'm going to go to backleading both of my my rods, just for the simple fact that it's kind of the only thing I've never really tried on here. And if I can backlead, get the line pinned against the floor, then there's a good chance that they're not going to realise that there's any line in the water, and maybe they'll think there's no one in this bay area. I had a couple of lads walk past us who were on 6 and 7. We had a little bit of a chat. They've been on for just over 24 hours. I think they're on a 48, so they'll be going home tomorrow, but they've only managed one between them, unfortunately. Like I say, I think it's the heat. The lad on peg 3-2 down from me, like I say, he had 3 in 24 hours. It's a good peg, that. If you ever do come here and you end up a member. Left-hand rod. It was backlead at the time, it's not now, but at the time I thought I had a take. I don't know whether it got hold of the boiling, spat it out, because when I reeled in there was nothing on it. So potentially I had a take and it just grabbed hold of the boiling instead of the hook, because it was a sharp few beeps and I thought I had a take, and then it just nothing. If you can hear anything in the background, I apologise. It's Eddie, the owner's turned the aerators on for me, because, well, not for me, for the fish, but to help me out, bring the fish, get them feeding, bit of oxygen in the water, which surprisingly enough, half an hour after that happened was when I got them knocks. It was a ASM bottom boilie on an IQD rig. I've switched it to a wafter. It's a bit more sturdy, so if it does get picked up, there's a better chance it's going to stay on the hook. I've still got the yellow dumbbell wafter on the right rod. I might reset the right rod in the opposite margin before I go to bed. It's finally cooled down enough to where I can lay my head on my pillow and I don't feel like I'm going to set a light. If you do have any movie recommendations for when I'm out on the bank, no, not Jaws, drop them in the comments below, let me know. Okay, so it's been literally 3 minutes since my last update, and I had a take. There is a big snag in that corner. It just completely snapped me off. I felt the abrasion. I just kind of held it there to see if it would unsnag itself. Unfortunate, I'll be honest with you, I didn't realise there was any snags in this lake, especially back there, so I'm not sure what it got wrapped around. Right, I mean, I can feel all the lines all like perforated, if that's the right word to use, I'm not sure. That was literally as far back into the trees as I could go. Unfortunately, just one of them things. I'm going to go have a walk down there now, see if I can see anything in the water. But yeah, it literally just gone past 8:30. I was just talking here and unfortunately I got snapped. It's one of them things, isn't it? We do but try again. So, are you going to kick off or are you going to sit still for me? go. Lovely colours on it, almost orange. Good look at that. He's been through the battles, he's got no top fin. He's still got his barbels. He's a good, say maybe 10-12 pound. Well, weighed that fish, 10 pound on the nose, which is a good start considering it's still my first 24 hours here. It's now 20 to 10, so a little bit about the craziness that's just ensued for me. Left hand rod went off, pulled into it, no problem. Felt it was snagged on something. Just kind of held it to see if it would come out. And then all of a sudden I just felt like a horrible grating, and I genuinely didn't realise there was a snag there. I was told all the snags were taken out, but it's found something to wrap around, so maybe it's a tree, a piece of branch just fell in, something like that. Anyway, it managed to snap itself off, took the lead a lot. That's why you always fish with safe leads, meaning that if you don't know and you're a novice like me, that the lead always drops so that the fish is not trailing the lead around, because it will die. Went down, had a look, couldn't see anything, come back, started putting my line through the eyes of the rod, and all of a sudden my right one burst off, literally as I got back, pulled up, and because I had a back lead I didn't feel anything, and I pulled in maybe a rod length width, and all of a sudden it just pinged and the line just flew up and hit the tree behind me. Luckily the lead was still on that one. I only lost the hook. It literally, as I looked at it, it was the hook itself was the only thing that had come off. Now these are all pre-tied rigs, the corder rigs. Now whether I've just getting a bad batch, or I mean, I've never did steered me wrong so far, but to have two corder rigs pre-made, pre-tied out the packet snap on me like that, I've never had it happen. So basically I was two rods out of the water, and I thought, well, one's got the lead on still, so I'll try and get that one back in before I mess about with trying to retie and rig tube and all that jazz. Put it back in the boat, a couple of pellets. I started using Red Robin 12mm pellets, 8mm pellets, something like that, because they have a really spicy smell to them. And I thought, I'll give them a shot, see if that works. And that, funnily enough, that was the left hand rod that snapped me on the 25 pound boom. It must have been the line that snapped, not the rig itself. That was the first time I put Red Robin pellets in the boat, and literally within minutes they both went off. Some Red Robin pellets, some house pellets, some crushed up ASM. Drove it across to the exact spot that I just popped off on, and literally put the spool over, tightened the line. Didn't bother with the back lead because I didn't have another rod in the water. No sooner did I got the boat out the water, it was beep 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 beep, the sound we all love to hear. Didn't feel like a very good fish, which turns out was only 10 pound, but I mean, a fish is a fish on the first night, especially in this weather. It's cooled down now a lot, and obviously the aerators have been on a couple of hours now. I think they have about 2 hours worth of fuel left in them, so it should keep getting them stirred up, and they should be fired up for the rest of the night. Hopefully we catch a big one in the night. Hopefully what snapped me wasn't big, because that would be really upsetting. Right, it is the morning. We're about 24 hours in, just shy of 24 hours in now. Not even a beep last night, which I'm actually quite shocked at. I got a good night's sleep. I was woken up by the cat eating my bag of pellets that I'd left outside, and then it come in for petting. rods are reset. Forgive me if I'm whopping about like a crazy man. These horseflies seem intent and biting holes in me. I mean, I've never ever been bitten so much in my life as I have when I've been here the past 2 times. The horseflies are just incredible. Anyway, besides the point. Both rods are reset. Bite time, come, went, not a sausage. Honestly, I think today's going to be much of the same. I think it's going to be way too hot for anything to materialise. If we snag one, it's going to be before 10 o'clock, I think. And it's 8:45 now. I mean, there's always chance. If the rod's in the water, you've got a chance. We've got a fresh... Sorry, I'm sweating like mad. We've got a fresh 16mm wafter on the left-hand rod on a spinner rig, which I've chucked right in the back corner. I literally walked up with the boat to make sure I got it in the spot that I'd been baiting. I think the halibut pellets must have done some good, because they were what I put in that got me the bites last night. So stick with what seems to be working. Right hand rod I've kind of shoved over to the original spot I wanted to fish before I got here, which is again opposite margin, and there's like a green bush, like a brighter green bush than the rest of them, just on the right hand side of that. The only problem is there's a chemical toilet right above it. But Eddie, the owner, says that there's been big trucks, because he's doing work on the horseshoe to turn it into a specimen lake. He said there's been big work going on right against this swim, and they've still been pulling out 18-pounders. So to be honest with you, I'm tempted to ask him to bring over the HGV and just turn it on to see if we can catch a bite. I mean, we just have to see what happens. Like, I baited the left margin to me, which is like really close, and I've never put a rod in there yet. So I don't know whether to try that one tonight when it cools back down. Gets over just that corner, which was about 3 o'clock yesterday, I think. I've kind of started to keep like an index, basically a fishing journal. And there's the Cars Lake, you probably can't see the writing. Then I've got the Oaks, which I've never had a specimen fish out of yet. I'd say surprisingly, it's literally the only specimen lake I've never ever gotten anything off. And then I've drew Kathleen's today in pencil, and then I just go over it with a pen when I get home. Write a bit of information. I've got what my wife bought me for Father's Day, or should I say my daughter technically bought me. It was like a printer, like an Instax printer that connects to your phone. I don't know if you can see it. I'll show you. It takes all the pictures on little Instax. And what I was thinking of doing is just putting all the lakes I've been to, all the lakes I plan to go to in here, drawing them out, a bit of information about the lake, draw the pegs where I've fished, draw the pegs where I've gotten bites, sorry, the locations I've gotten bites, which I've already started doing on some of the other ones. And then like halfway through the book I want to do like a catch report, what peg, what time, what hook bait, etc, on each of the little photos, just a little bit under them each. I think that'd be really good for me mentally, because it keeps me occupied and gives me something to focus on while I'm here. Not only that, I think it would be pretty good for my kids to see when I'm old and decrepit and I don't fish no more. I mean, if my son or daughter end up getting into fishing, who knows, it might become useful for them. Just pulled the rod, we're just about to pull the rods in to switch to peg 3. Meant to be the best peg on, but literally as I was taking my battery down, rod ripped off, mirror in the bag. Never run or sweated so much in my life. But Eddie the owner's come and give us a hand, which I really appreciate. We haven't weighed it yet, we're going to weigh it after before we put it back. But I'll show you it now before it gives me. If it was a PB I wouldn't need soaking. I think the fish is going to do it for me. There we go. Haven't weighed it. Seriously, lovely mirror. Fingers crossed, it's definitely an upper double. Whether it's a 20 or not, I'm not sure. It's going to be close, I think. But absolute beautiful fish. ASM yellow dumbbell wafter. Size 6 hook IQD rig yet again, seems to be the only one that works for me. We'll get it in the sling, wait, see what we're setting at, and then we'll release it back in. Right, bit of a weird place to find me, I know. I'm in the car. I've decided to pack up early. I really don't feel well. It's 12 o'clock. The heat's just too much. It's overcast, but even still, it's just too hot for me. I don't know if it's my diabetes or what, but I couldn't stop sweating. The only time I haven't sweat is when I've been in here with the fans on full blast, as you can probably hear them. But yeah, 17.3 and a £10. Let's call it a leather. It basically was. But yeah, I'm happy with that. I would have loved to have stayed another day, but you live and you learn. I'm going to have to get a 12-volt fan for my bivvy. That'll really be camping with a bivvy then. But I appreciate you watching. If you liked, subscribe if you're not subscribed. I'd appreciate it. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.